Given that this press conference will be mainly in French, I would like to welcome you all to this press conference of Langue étrangère running in competition at the 74th Film Festival. I'd like to start at the far left here, presenting the panel. An artist who has really been engaged in defending human rights, also in his home country, Syria, has been forced to leave his home country, Syria, coming to Europe. Jalal Al-Tawil. His wonderful career in Germany has earned him also the Silver Bear for the Best Actor in 2007. Ella Nina Hoss. Her role is Nina, and it's her first role in cinema. Josefa Heinzius. Her first full feature film. She had already received a Golden Camera 10 years ago. It's the first time as a film director here at the Berlinale. Claire Burger. She already impressed us in a variety of films like La Foudre, Orange, Fanny, Lilith, Grasmug. And the French producer, she has 11 Césars and has a BAFTA since yesterday, I suppose, already. Marie-Ange Lucianet. And equally among us, the German director of Razor Films, Gerhard Meinsner and Razor Sommer. There are a number of hands already raised, but I'll start with the first question. Where does the inspiration for the film come from? Well, it comes from the number of trips that I took abroad. I was engaged in numerous school exchanges, and there was this moment of the pandemic where I had the feeling that it was a very difficult moment for young people in France, and I wanted to tell a European story, a story of an exchange. Are there any questions? Okay, yes. Third row, please. Yes, good day. Hello. Thank you very much for this excellent film. And the question that I'd like to ask you is, what, according to you, is the difference between an adolescent in France and Germany? And what is their collective or individual destiny? And in what sense do they differ? That is not an easy question. I don't believe that I'm a specialist when it comes to adolescents or young people, but I do believe that there's a cultural difference between the French and the German. I've witnessed that quite vividly also during the shoot, but I also do believe that there is also a stronger sensitivity when it comes to climate change. But there are worries that are both shared by young people in Germany and France. Feminism, climate change, and also a rejection of populism. And I think this is something that, or also fear of the rise of populism, this is maybe something that other young people in Europe also share, but certainly young people in France and Germany. But maybe you wish to come in on this. Is there a difference between German and French youth? Well, I put it this way. I think it's the most difficult question to answer. I am German amongst French, and I would say in Germany right now, when it comes to the right-wing rise of populism, it's very, very difficult, just like elsewhere as well, but I can't add really much to that. Yes, my impression is also that in France, we've not had this pivotal event such as the fall of the Berlin Wall. And I do believe that in France there is also a slight lag when it comes to commitment to certain causes. And I think that in Germany, many of my German colleagues are also much more active. Any questions?
Il n'y a pas une jeunesse, il y a plein de jeunesse et on pourrait imaginer qu'il y a une jeunesse en réalité aujourd'hui qui est très très engagée, mais je crois qu'il y a aussi beaucoup de jeunes, on en parlait avec Lilith hier, qui ne sont pas du tout engagés de nos jours. Après, c'est vrai qu'il y a aujourd'hui des enjeux tellement forts, je crois.
And I do believe that obviously we are all concerned by climate change and the rise of right-wing populism. I do believe that before commitment, there is a question of fear. And I do believe that we all share that sense of fear. And we do sense that it would be good to act collectively. And what I tried to show in this film was to try to project the youth exactly at that point where they're trying to find both themselves and also express a political identity. I don't think that it is fully determined yet. I think it is more like a search that is taking place. And I also believe that, to me, it was very important to talk about the sensitivities and perhaps also the closeness or the awkwardness also that exists also in political terms between the generations. And I think in this case, for example, there's also a disappointment that is clearly there when it comes to a lack of commitment. And maybe we could just go beyond that and try to work together in order to solve these urgent questions. And to the second point, France and Germany, I have both identities, French and German. I do know, and I actually grew up directly at the border there. Germans are our immediate neighbors. So I'm very much aware of these cliches that exist. But there's also another image of Germany, of a sexy and alternative Germany. And I do believe that French people actually are not very aware of what's going on in the former eastern parts of Germany, the former GDR regions of Germany. And I do believe that this cliche, the kind of cliche that exists between our involving both our cultures, really. And I think that this is something that has to be broken, and this is something that I wanted to deal with. Yes, Nina, you speak very well French. In your youth, did you engage in an exchange between France and Germany? As you wish. I was never on a student exchange, and I come from Stuttgart originally, close to the French border, and I was very often in Strasbourg and the Alsace region. I loved French, the French chanson genre. Always, I always looked towards the French culture and tried to gain a proximity to it. I'm still fascinated by it, but I was never part of a student exchange properly. Question from reporter in Leipzig. A question to Nina. Last year in Dresden, this time in Leipzig, what is better? I come from Dresden, but I've been living for 40 years now in Leipzig. And at Josefa, to Josefa and Lilith, how did you like Leipzig? And Claire, why did you choose Leipzig in the first place? You could have chosen Cologne, or any other place. I can't really answer that question as to what is better, really. I had great experiences in both towns. I think the atmosphere, the mood is somehow different. Dresden is more sort of regal, a bit more Baroque as well, at least in the area where we were, in the center of town. And Leipzig is more vivid, more vivacious as well. But I know that if you go out in Dresden, you can also find lively places. So I can't really answer that question. I can only say that I had a good time in Leipzig. And I was mainly in the area of the train station, so I really know that area well now. I've been living in Leipzig for the past 2.5 years, and I love Leipzig. Many young people there. There's a lot of culture. There's a lot of many political groups there and demonstrations that take place. So it is a very lively city. And actually, the scenery is very beautiful too. Do you wish to comment? Yes. What I most saw actually in Leipzig was my hotel room in the evenings after the shoot. No, but apart from that, I can say that I did walk around, and I can also confirm that there's a new avant-garde architecture that is rising there. That's very, very interesting. So you speak German much better than the character you play in the film. Any other questions? Yes, I'll speak French if you allow. I chose Leipzig because this was a suggestion by Roman, who said, that's an interesting city, and he got me interested in it. I thought that it, just like everybody I could go and shoot in Berlin, but in the end, I gave up that idea because I then looked at Leipzig. I saw it was kind of like a new and upcoming Berlin, and I did some research and also saw that the Monday demonstrations that brought down the Berlin Wall had actually started there. And there's perhaps still an element there that resists the evolution of time and also speaks to the effects of ultra-liberalism and the fall of the Berlin Wall and what remains of that heritage of the GDR, and perhaps also speaking to the difficulties that left-wing politics are experiencing nowadays in Saxony vis-à-vis the rise of right-wing populism. And coming from the border between Germany and France, I was also interested in working in an area in Germany that I was not familiar with. So I did not know Eastern Germany well. I thought that idea of exposing myself to that was very, very interesting. And as a French, to really come to Eastern Germany, that was a challenge. I'm much much more familiar with Bavaria than Eastern Germany. Yes, further questions, please. Yes, we can hear you. Question in French. Grandezzo Federico, Giornale Italia. A question for Claire. Do you believe that increasingly we can see that cinema is turning towards political topics, that we are effectively witnessing a context of war in different regions? And do you believe that there is a mounting trend or an increasing trend of filmmakers to turn towards those topics? Well, I do believe that that is not easily to shoot. Everything that is more theoretical is much more difficult. And what I try to do is to give it almost a sensual texture, to make it palpable. Politics, that is. I do not believe in making a political film, a propaganda film. I don't look at that, really. It's a much more a film about soul-searching, belief, and the beginning of desire as well. I don't know whether it's really a film about politics in that sense, but I do believe that there are many people who believe that art is essentially political and who wish to make very committed films. Maybe Marie-Ange can come in here, and I can't really speak to that, but film productions that I'm engaged in very often are political. And I had this film that was set in the 90s, and there's also this film that is about society today. So it's not a political film in sort of the original sense of the word, but I do believe that it has a political vocation, and it is about youth. And I do believe that there's also an interest taken in society and the context in which we live. The and there's also plenty of traces of the world in which we live in this film. Carlos, love. First of all, this is my first feature film in French, and I first of foremost would like to thank Claire. She really gave me this self-confidence and instilled that in me to make this film, and I had already worked with and I liked working with Marie-Ange and Claire. I think that their work is very, very interesting, and their way of looking at it is also interesting. She's always looking for love in the film, and to me, that is a strong commitment to go even further, even perhaps beyond love, the love that, in a conventional sense, that it is also, or that it reaches as far as a political commitment. Also, when it comes to climate change, when it comes to my own character, it's a bit the exact opposite of who I am in real life, because I was part of the revolution in Syria. And here we have a character who doesn't dare go beyond certain boundaries, a certain vision he has of life. But he has this very particular relationship with his daughter, and obviously with his wife. And the way we worked this character is we had this conversation going on with Claire, and there was a fine line that we tried to keep, to not fall into cliches of confrontation between two generations, the children and the parents. And that is also something that I was very much focused on, because it's essential to this character, Antar. Thank you very much, Claire. Thank you, Claire and Marie. I love you. Thank you. How did you get that chemistry and that proximity across? How did you work that? I believe that we also talked a lot in preparation of the film in order to prepare our roles. At the beginning, given that this was my very, very first feature film, she really took me by the hand and explained how everything worked, who had what role on the set. And obviously, we also spent a lot of time together during this entire time. Yes, and something that really helped me also, aside from the fact that Lilith has experience on the set and as an actress and knows exactly how and what she needs on the set in order to prepare well, it also helped me that Lilith is an excellent actress and she's a wonderful counterpart. So all of that helped. I'll try to keep it very brief. There are several topics that are touched upon in the film. I wanted to touch on many levels there, but first and foremost, it was a film of love. It's a love film. At the beginning, I thought of making a film about friendship, and then it evolved. It really transformed and gravitated towards this love story, and all of the things that I wanted to work on. I spent a lot of time working on the script together with Marie-Ange. We worked on it in order to try and find the main topics that I could work on, and at the same time also touch as many topics as I wanted to touch upon, and many things that I wanted to speak about. Yes, congratulations. I can't speak French, so I'll stick to German. Thank you very much. I really enjoyed the film. Georgia Film Review from Georgia. My question goes to Claire. Was this a youth film or an adolescent film, a film of coming of age, or was it just a normal film? Was it a political film? Was it a love film? A love story? And last question to Josefa. Why did you cry as Lena at the end in your character? Well, is it a love film? Is it a political film? It is a film about desire, about and about belief, and about the desire to believe, to be able to believe, and believing in one's own desire. Do I have to speak in German? No, we have interpreters. And is it a film about youth? Yes. I really wanted to talk about young people today, but in working with Nina, who is, and I really thought it was also about this confrontation between the generations. It's not that easy, and I really wanted to have that dialogue about between young actresses and more established actors and actresses, something that could be impressive, how they establish and claim their place within that context. And I think this is also a question that comes up for all of us. I mean, the necessity for generations to work together. In this case, the characters of Nina Hoss and Karas are both also very, very important. So it's not just a film about youth. It doesn't just focus on young people, but mainly also on women. Nina, yes. I think that in the end, it's up to the audience, the public, to decide why Lena shed some tears at the end there. It wasn't really written down as such in the script, but at the end, she does receive this audio message from Fanny that says, "I love you." And the fact that she also lied, well, the fact that the tears flows perhaps because this intensive period is over, and perhaps also because she can hardly believe that this is happening, and perhaps because she harbors doubts also whether they will see each other again or not. And at the end of the day, I think it's this entire tension as well. A lot has happened between Lena and Fanny, and this tension falls by the wayside, and she's on her way home, and she knows, okay, I'm getting back to that, to my mother, and all of that overwhelms her, and then also the political questions, the very last scene that you see in the film. my question is for Nina Haas. Could you please explain how did you prepare for this character? It's so alive, and it really uh, makes me think of the mother of one of my best friends. So it was really fun to watch that. How did you prepare that? Well, what I really enjoyed about this character, and this is something that Claire already touched upon, is that I have the impression that she herself was once in that place where Josefa, where Lena, the character in the movie, finds herself. And at some point, she somehow lost her path. And both in a political sense, but also in life in general. At this point, she does not know where to turn anymore and what all of this means, but she has some kind of joie de vivre. Yes, she enjoys a splash or two, too many sometimes, but that also brings about that she does funny things and reacts in a funny way sometimes. And this is something that Claire was also looking for. I wanted to convey something warm, a warm mother personality, that it shouldn't be too problematic, but that she somehow also brings a bit some turmoil as well in this very tender relationship. And at the same time, that she's also overwhelmed with the situation, and that is why the daughter is takes up so much responsibility upon herself, because she feels that she has to take care of her mother. And I think this was wonderful to carve it out together with the rest of the team to really work out what happens with this woman right up to the point where her ex shows up and she misunderstands and misreads the situation completely. It was just a wonderful arc in a way, and it was wonderful to discover it. Thank you very much.